You know, most officers don't get hurt because they're reckless. They get hurt because they stop diagnosing. They see something and they react. No condition, no cause, no confirmation, just a reaction. And a lot of times that reaction is exactly what the inmate was counting on. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kerry Randall with Beyond the Badge Inside the Bars. Today we're going to talk about a diagnostic process. And yes, I did say diagnostic because that is exactly what this job requires. Here's what happens out on the floor. An officer sees a condition, an inmate pacing, refusing meals, or getting loud, and they immediately move to a response. They write them up, lockdown, use of force, and sometimes that is necessary, but a lot of times they're treating the symptoms without even identifying the disease. And that's where officers get manipulated. That's where officers get hurt. That's where careers end. I'm not going to lie, I did this too when I was a new officer. I saw what was in front of me and I reacted. But the veteran, I learned from the ones who never seemed rattled. They were running a process every single time. I didn't even realize it until I saw someone explain it from a completely different industry. You may know this guy. You may watch his video, Dave Bell. He runs Dave's Automotive Center, and he has about 8 million followers on YouTube, teaching people about automotive diagnostic. And he uses what he calls the C's: condition, cause, confirm. His point is this good. A good mechanic doesn't pick up a wrench until they've gone through that process. You identify the condition first, what the customer is telling you. Then you find the cause. That's exactly what's making it do that. Then you confirm, did you actually fix the root problem or just the symptoms? Now we're going to use those terms in corrections. And I'm watching this man talking about trucks, and I thought, this is exactly what we do, or what we should be doing behind these gates. So today I'm going to break down the triple C's for correctional officers: condition, cause, confirm. And I'm going to show you exactly how this process can keep you safer, keep you out of discipline hearings, keep you from being played by someone who's had 20 years to study you. Number one, condition. In automotive, the condition is what the customer reports. My car makes a noise when I turn left. That's the condition. It's observable. It's specific. In corrections, the condition is what you observe about the inmate. What are you actually seeing right now? Is the inmate agitated, withdrawn, making unusual requests, gathering with people they normally don't gather with or talk to? They're not eating, watching specific areas of the yard, asking questions about another officer's schedule? Now, the condition is everything you can see, hear, and document. And the key word there is to document. We document everything. When you go behind those gates and lock yourself behind there, you are in a different world. Details do matter, and details are important. Now here's where most officers stop. They see the condition and they decide they know what's happening. He's just acting up. She's trying to get attention. They're testing the new officer. And sometimes that's right, but sometimes you just drove past the real problem at 70 miles per hour. The condition is not your conclusion. The condition is your starting point. Number two is the cause. This is the diagnostic step. This is where experience lives. A mechanic pulls codes. They run tests. They check the history of the vehicle. They don't just guess what's wrong, they investigate. In corrections, the cause is why the inmate is presenting the condition you observed. And I'm going to tell you something. It is almost never what it looks like on the surface. An inmate who is agitated might be getting extorted by another inmate. An inmate who's withdrawn might have just gotten bad news from home. An inmate who's asking a lot of questions about schedule might be manipulating you, or they might genuinely be anxious about a court date. An inmate refusing meals could be protesting. Could be having a mental health episode. It could be physically sick. Now, don't let them convince you, and don't let yourself convince you that you already know the cause. New officers falls into this trap constantly. You walk into the assumption, and the inmate who's had a lot of time to study people, they will work that assumption. Now, moving on to the next thing, how do you find the cause? You ask, you check records, you talk to mental health, medicals, the classification officer, you watch the inmate's patterns over time. You compare what you've seen today to what you saw last week. The cause requires investigation, not a knee-jerk. Before I get into the third C's, and this is the one most officers skips entirely, drop a comment below. Tell me, have you ever reacted to a condition and found out later the cause was completely different from what you thought at the beginning? I want to hear those stories below. Put it in the comments below. They're the most valuable training we can give each other. And let's help each other out. All right, the last stage here, confirm. Number 3, confirm. Dave Bell added this one himself to the automotive framework. And it's the one that separates the good technicians from the great ones. Now, in the shop, you fix the problem. And then you confirm the fix actually worked. You don't just sign off and hand the keys back. You test it, you verify, because sometimes the repair addresses the symptoms and miss the problem entirely. In corrections, confirming means before you take actions, before you write the ticket, before you move it to the inmate, before you escalate, pause and ask yourself, am I actually right about this? Confirming looks like this. You identify the condition, you have a theory on the cause. Now you test it. You have a brief professional conversation with this inmate. Nothing personal. You ask open-ended questions and you listen. You cross-reference with other staff you have contacted with that inmate recently. You check the housing notes. You run it by mental health if there's any possibility of a mental health component. When routine replaces awareness, that's when you have a blind spot. Confirming is how you stay aware. It takes 2 extra minutes. Those 2 minutes have saved more officers from use of force incidents, grievances from manipulation than any other piece of equipment you could think of. The confirm step also protects you legally. If something escalates after you've documented a condition, identified cause, and confirmed your assessment, you have a paper trail that shows professional judgment. You did the work. Let me walk you through what this looks like in real life. All right, you're doing a housing check and you noticed an inmate, normally quiet, stays to himself, and today he's agitated. Won't make eye contact with you. When you pass his cell, he turns away. That is your condition. Now, you could assume he's being difficult. Write it up, move on. Most new officers would do exactly that. But you run your cause analysis, you check the housing log, you notice that the new inmate moved onto the block 2 days ago, you talk to the officer who worked the previous post, they mentioned this inmate seems tense after yard time. You check if there's any documented beef in the file. Your theory, he's being pressured or threatened by someone on the block. Now you confirm. You find a quiet moment away from other inmates, nothing personal, just a professional check-in. Everything's all right. Anything I need to do or be aware of. You watch his body language. He doesn't give you much, but he doesn't deny it either. Based on your condition, your cause analyst, and you confirm, you recommend a housing review. The inmate gets moved. 2 days later, you find out the new inmate had a documented history with him from a previous facility. No use of force, no incident reports, no grievances, and one inmate who's a little bit safer because you ran the diagnostic instead of the reaction. That is the triple C's in corrections. The bottom line is this. Dave Bell built a process for his shop that removes the guesswork from complex problems. And working behind the gate is as complex as it gets. I'm sure you agree with that. Condition, cause confirmed every time. Make a habit. not a tool you pull when things get bad. Because if you wait until it's already bad, you already skipped the step that you could prevented it. If you want some more tips like this, share the video, like it, comment about your experience, and don't forget the most important part, subscribe so you get more content like this. And thank you for watching, and God bless, and most importantly, stay safe out there.